Why don't I have $1 million portfolio? That's what my man Brad asks. I don't think he's asking it, snarkily. I think he's just curious. So, I think. Let's check it out. So he said, could you post a summary of your financial journey? Well, first and foremost, Brad, I have that summary right here. It's called Strategic Money Planning. 8 ways to put your house in order. I should say financial house, but I screwed up the title. And you can find all about it. Extra, read all about it. All right, then he says, according to one of your posts, more than one of my posts, you did not manage to build $1 million portfolio by the age of 50. Why is that? What should you have done differently? All right. Why don't I have $1 million? Is there any reason you need $1 million by the time you're 50? I don't get it. I don't get it. So let's put it this way: I could have I'd probably be bordering on $1 million if I would have stayed at my crappy old job. Let's see, I was 47 when I left USA. I had about $500,000 my 401k or something like that. Um, I went to work for a couple other firms, thinking maybe this is before I had the cojones to start my own financial planning, my YouTube channel, and it wasn't for me. I was done. I was done work for other people. I don't know how else to put it. I was done. I saw the whole hypocrisy of the financial planning industry. It was all focused on investment management, and I wanted to be financial planning. And the benefit of working from USA is it gave you the opportunity to be financial planning, and they don't do it anymore. But the people I know who still work at USA now, Schwab, are still doing pretty good financial planning when all is said and done. Not as good as what we did at USA, but pretty good, and the best of the business by far, by far. Now that's few and far between anymore. And how do you decide if someone's doing the best in business? I don't know what to tell you. But if they're not asking about durable power of attorney, that's one thing right there. If they're not asking about your auto and your homeowners insurance, that's another thing. You can't be doing financial planning without those two big questions being asked. Are they asking about your auto and homeowners insurance policy? And the corollary to that, or would be the umbrella policy. Are they not asking you about your estate planning documents, and particularly a durable power of attorney and a living will? That's not financial planning. That's investment management. If they're not even touch on that. And so what I've come to realize is that my skill set was above these firms that were doing investment management. And that sounds arrogant. Don't care. It's just a fact, man. They can talk investments all day long, but if they're not talking financial planning, don't call yourself a financial planning organization, even if you have a stupid CFP. All right, so why don't I have $1 million? Well, I really didn't start making money, Brad, until I was freaking 20 in 2009. I made $80,000 in 2009. What's the equivalent of that today? I don't know, 140. And it really wasn't until about 2012 where I started making well into the six figures. I'd never made more than 300. I'll tell you that right now. So my best year with bonuses was at USA. Probably a couple of years I made over 250, but not in a three. So we'll just say 275. Before that, I was making from basically 6 years, from 2012 to 2017, I was making high 100s and then 2 of those years I'm making high 200s. That's it. That's it. I said this a million times a Sunday. In 2008, 2007, we made $32,000. Was it 2008 or 2007? I think it was 2007. I can't remember. But anyway, I think it was 2000. But 1 year back then, I remember we were literally thinking of going on WIC, Women, Infant, and Children, because we just had two bouncing babies, and I got taken off commissions. I got taken off salary when I was at Smith Barney. It used to be Legg Mason, then Smith Barney. Now I don't know what the hell it is. Anyway, I got Wells Fargo, I think, and I got taken off salary because they gave you a salary. It was nice for the first 4 years. I was making 54,000, and then for every 6 months it dropped by like 10%, 15% or something like that. But they gave you a base like 35 or something like that, and then they took you off, and then it's just all commissions. And so in 2007, I went straight to commissions, and that was a time everything was just going hell in a handbasket. It was in October 2007 where the bottom fell out. I'll never forget that. And then it went into 2008, and not only was the markets falling, but people were also getting at the market. And so this had a deep impact on me. The markets are falling off a cliff. When my fee structure was based, I probably had 20, maybe 25 million of assets under management. So if that did not happen, that, I mean, at 1%, we'll just say that's, $250,000. I didn't make 250,000. It's called your gross. I don't know if they call it anymore, but gross dealer concession, GDC. So my GDC, or my revenue attributed to my firm, was 1% of 25 million. We'll just say that. That's $250,000, and I got 35% payout off that. But on a normal trajectory, that 1% we'll just say double in 7 years, just for simplicity, because you're adding money as well as the markets are growing. So now you're at 50 million by the time 7 years comes up, and probably more actually. 50 million by the time that'd be 2014, pays 500,000 dealer concession. I get, at that point, you get 40% of that, and that's what, 250, no, I guess 200. And that's just to retain assets. Yeah, and then you're still adding money. People are still investing. It just, it's a great, it's a great. What's the thought process? It's a great marketing cycle to get you to follow the multi-level marketing that is the brokerage industry. It's all MLM, because essentially you're selling other companies' products, they get paid. You're selling other companies' products on behalf of your company, which gets paid, and then you get paid on that. And at the end of the day, there's 3-4 levels of fees that are coming out of your client's money. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's the problem. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, man. And it's and the longer that time happened, the more just what's the word I'm looking for? Not just disenchanted. I said, there's so many layers of fees. And I'll never, and so the kicker for me, I'll never forget this, was I had this Vietnam vet, and this is when I was out. This is when I was working for a firm up in Tennessee. Thought we might live up there to reduce our cost of living. And I love Eastern Tennessee. Love East Tennessee. Hold on. Got where I left off because I had an interruption by this guy. Oh, right here. Look at him. Look out the yard. Oh yeah. So we have some neighborhood kids up. They have 4 kids, couple houses up, and they were just walking by. I want to say, "Get off my yard! Get off my lawn!" The cutest little kids. Oh my goodness, it's just cool watching these kids grow up, man. I love it. And the wife, the mom, she's like, "Sorry about that." Just all joke. I said, "No, get off my lawn." And the one little kid came up, get close to my lawn. I said, "Get off my lawn." And he squeaked. It was so cute. Oh, man, I love it. I could never live in a place there's no kids. I love them, especially trick-or-treating time. Oh, it's the best time in the world. Anyway, so going back to my story. So I was up in Tennessee, and am I recording? Yeah, all right. And we had I'll never forget this, Vietnam vet. He and his wife came into our house. They had like $350,000 in our house, or my office. They had $350,000. He was suffering from Agent Orange. All right, let me close this because Pablo's here. Okay. Check this out. Good boys. Yeah. Hi. And he was suffering from Agent Orange. And the problem was, and I can't remember the whole specifics. I just remember that he was obviously going to die before his wife. And he just wanted to make sure she was well taken care of. And I want to say the VA disability stops at his death for him specifically, even though it's Agent Orange. I can't remember. I'm pretty familiar with this stuff with the military. I just, in this regard, because it's Agent Orange, is more than just a typical VA disability. But that's me. They had $350,000, and they want to make sure they're going to be okay when he died. And he was okay. I mean, he just, his lungs are falling apart, and he was not long for this world. And I just remember looking at their portfolio, and I had inherited them from a previous guy. And they were paying freaking fees on top of fees on top of fees. I'll never forget the guy who we affiliated with, his firm, and I'm not going to say the name, but I'll never forget, he had a private plane. He's flying over the world. He started growing a beard to be, a thought leader, because having a beard makes you a thought leader. He's all over the flying. I said, this freaking pisses me off. That's why I despise the business. I said, you're doing that on the back of this freaking Vietnam vet who was drafted to go fight some stupid effing war on behalf of the American corporatists. It freaking pissed me off. I have nothing but disdain for these people. flying around his private jet, going to all these fancy schmancy shindigs, being a thought leader for the lesson of the day for you producers, what you can do to extract more wealth from your clients. And that right there was it for me. I said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I just, it's so infuriating. I feel emotional right now. I just want to go to that guy and say, do you know where your wealth is being built from? You freaking scumbag. It's not being built from clients. It's being built from people, specific people. A guy who's suffering from Agent Orange, who's paying you and your firm and me, because I had to get paid, over almost 3%. I said, if you're going to pay that much, you might as well just do a freaking annuity and get some insurance benefits of it too. I'm still mad by that. And it happens all over the business, multi-level marketing. It infuriates me. All right, so by then, I guess I had $500,000, my 401k. We have a big fat house, but we have 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? My wife doesn't work. She work off and on, but but we never needed huge amounts of money. I mean, I come from poverty. We were on, as I said a million times a Sunday. I was growing up on this stuff right here. And we got the brown, you got the green, and the brown, purple, and the green. Is it green? Or is it orange? Brown, purple, and orange. That's what it was for food stamps. My wife's got 9 brothers and sisters. Her dad died when she was, 14, 15, something like that. Her mom was working as a friggin', something on Kmart. Just neither of us have any money, and we're okay with that. I like having money is better than not having any, but it's not anything like I said. I gotta do whatever I can. Have $1 million. So what's the magic of $1 million? I get it's a nice round number, but what? I never had that. I'll never forget talking to a guy, a great guy, my man Kevin. I won't say anymore. We're driving to do a seminar here in Georgia to talk about trustee services that USA could do. And he's from Minnesota. He just told me, and for some reason he loves well, I'm not gonna say more, but there's a certain kind of lady he loves, and these certain kind of ladies are spicy, if you know what I'm saying. So he just got divorced. He goes, man, this sucks because I always want to have $1 million by the time I was X years old. And he goes, going through divorce now, I don't have that. He goes, I was like a year out. Now I'm, it just set me back, basically 5 to 10 years. I said, yeah, he's a great guy. I love this guy. But I said, yeah. And I said, that sucks, man. Because it's nice to have the goal of $1 million. I don't blame this guy. But in terms of your financial planning, why does $1 million matter? It doesn't matter relative to your spending. I cannot stress this enough. So the $1 million, so for me, I took out, $130,000 to start this firm in 2017. I took out 100, but I had to pay penalty and taxes. So it cost me $130,000 to take out 100. So I took out a third of my total liquid net worth. You know what I'm saying? And it was friggin' scary, man. In 2018, I made no money at all, none. So it was friggin' scary. So basically, I left a job where I was making, high 200,000 to literally making nothing, and on top of that, taking money out of my 401k, penalty as well to start this. It's friggin' scary. And I'm not even back to where I was. You know what I'm saying? Because that was $130,000. You don't make that back overnight. But on top of that, I will say my debt level is it's not nil because I still have debt on this puppy right here. But my goal is to have this guy paid off. See, the nice thing about me is that I use my experience to share with you guys. I've been a financial planner for going back to 1998. You know what I'm saying? I share my experience, and my experience is the $1 million doesn't mean crap. It's the other side of the equation. An income statement. Income statement is coming in and going out, coming in and going out. Everyone wants to focus on the balance sheet, assets versus liabilities. Don't focus on that. It's okay, but the way you focus on that is to minimize the liabilities. You can build the assets. I got no qualm with that. That's what I'm trying to do too. But the liability side is what will sink you. Will sink your ship because the liability side floats into the outflow side. It's just that simple, man. And I'm just telling you, my experience of witnessing this as with a professional financial planner going back to 1998 with Vanguard is the liability side gets way overlooked And the outflows, which a couple of reasons you got high outflows, is because of the liability side, and on top of that, you like to spend too much. Have a fancy car, you like to travel. All that stuff is fine if you can afford it, but if you're taking it on by increasing your liability side of the balance sheet, that's the wrong answer. That's the wrong answer. So you might have 7 figures, but if your balance sheet is heavily skewed towards liabilities, that would scare the living bejesus out of me. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at my net worth, my investment portfolio isn't $1 million, but what's my net worth, if that makes sense? It's getting pretty close now. Pretty close. Now the bulk of that is I'm essentially I'm not house poor, but the equity in my home is what I'm shooting for, plus my investments to get me over that $1 million. And every month I'm getting closer and closer, which is great. Can I use the equity in my home as a cash to put food on the table? No. And that's a risk I'm certainly willing to take, though, to reduce the liability side, which also reduces on the income statement the outflow side. I can't stress to you enough how important this is. Once you recognize that the asset side isn't the most, see, I'm telling you, everyone focuses on, so here, I want to show you something. You got assets and liabilities. All right, so this is a balance sheet, assets, liabilities. So inherently, by paying down your debt, you're decreasing your liabilities, but you're increasing your assets. It's a twofer, man. Increasing assets, decreasing liabilities. So for every extra $1,000 a month you pay on your mortgage, your liabilities goes down and your assets go up because that just generated more equity in your home. So a wonderful, wonderful thing. But no one focuses on that. Everyone focuses on assets. They just say, well, what's my assets? I got $1 million. I'm like, well, that's great, but that's not the whole. That literally doesn't mean anything until we put back liabilities. All right, because that's your net worth. Assets minus liabilities is your net worth. Now the interesting thing here is assets until you retire have nothing to do with cash flow. Doesn't do anything for cash flow until you retire, because most people's liquid assets are in their 401ks and IRAs, which they're not touching until they hit retirement. So the assets do nothing for cash flow, but the liabilities do. The liabilities increases outflow, I should say. You see what I'm saying? So this is, I can't stress this enough. I wish people would get this. Maybe I should just do another video on this solely because I'm already up to 17 minutes. But the thing is, you're building up your assets in order to have more cash flow in the future. I get that. But you have less cash flow now because your liabilities are so great. And so one of the benefits of reading that book, Spend Till the End by, what's his name? Larry Kotlikoff, it's called Consumption Smoothing. So basically what you're doing is you're hurting yourself today on the front end, avoiding consuming while I got my 4 kids. I don't want to wait till I'm 65 to go on a vacation. I don't want to wait till I'm 65 to enjoy hanging out with my kids. I might not make it there. I don't know. They might not make it there. Who knows? But I want to put stuff off for the future that I could be doing today. And the reason is because when the future comes, well, we're going to downsize. So we will cash out this house and take the equity, whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? We'll probably buy a house half the size. I mean, 1,800 square foot, 3-2, fine. You know what I'm saying? With a basement, absolutely fine, which is about half the size of this. We don't have 6 bedrooms. We got 4 in a basement, a fully done basement, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bath. What, 1 here, there, 3, 5 bathrooms. So basically 5 and 5, and a 3,200 square foot. So, and now we're in a high tax area of Fulton County. We won't do that. So we're going to sell this puppy, use the equity, buy a new house, cash money, and then we'll have money left over. That's the goal. It might not come to fruition, but I'm very comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying? So then our liabilities are zero. We won't have any more debt, which means our cash flow has been reduced, or our cash outflow has been reduced significantly, if that makes sense. Now I got a bunch of cash from the sale of this house on top, which I can spend, which will be tax-free. On top of that, whatever my portfolio will be at that point. You see what I'm saying? But I've learned to focus on the liability side, because the liability side says, hey, not only does the liability side cost you money, but it costs you money today, where your asset side doesn't do anything today. It does something in the future, but you still have to live today. And I think a lot of people say, I'm going to save, save, save. And this is what consumption smoothing is. If you actually look at your consumption over the course of a lifespan, you'll recognize that what you're doing is you're limiting yourself on the front end to have more on the back end. Well, A, you might not even be there. B, your kids might not be there to enjoy it simply because they're on their own now. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, I hope that makes sense. So, I'm striving, but it's not my priority to get to $1 million. My priority is to have no debt. That's my priority. And everyone can disagree. That's fine. To each his own. All right, God bless. Love to hear your thoughts.